Welcome back to another episode of the Hermit Poetry Series. I'm Neil Aitken, and on this channel I read poetry, mostly work by contemporary poets, occasionally poems of my own, and once in a while poems from the past. Today I'm going to read something of my own. I'm going to read from my first collection of poetry, The Lost Country of Sight, which was published in 2008 by Anhinga Press. It was the winner of the 2007 Philip Levine Prize for Poetry. I'm going to read something from about midway through the collection. This is part of a sequence of poems I was writing about different recollections of Saskatchewan, which now I've returned to. But at the time when I was writing these, I was living far from home. Saskatchewan, if you're unfamiliar with it, is a province in Canada located above North Dakota and Montana. It's in between Alberta and Manitoba. It is a large province in the sense that it covers a lot of space, a lot of ground, a lot of land. So it is, as I sometimes point out to people, 3.5 times the size of Utah. It's almost twice the size of, I think it's Montana and Wyoming. It's huge, and there's, for most of my life, it's been less than 1 million people or just around 1 million people living in the entire province. So people are very spread out. A handful of cities, which in most other major countries would not really count as cities, but they are cities here. Two that are over 200,000, and let's see, I think the next size down is maybe barely over 100,000, and then like 70,000, and then after that it rapidly drops off into much smaller communities. Now, because of that, you'll find that it is very agricultural in the south. In the north, it's a lot of forest and lakes and rivers. In the south, it's so flat. It is, I mean, the running joke is, and you'll hear me mention this in some of the other videos, running joke is one of the flattest places on earth. It's so flat you can watch your dog run away for 3 days. Um, which, yeah, old joke. The thing about Saskatchewan that I have always loved, though, growing up, spending part of my childhood here, is the sense of openness for the land. You can stand out in the country outside the city, and it's so flat. Your view is unimpeded. There are no hills or no trees. Any trees you see in the south are likely, almost certainly, planted by human beings. So this unobstructed view of the land and of the sky puts very clearly in your mind both sort of the vastness of the world that we live in and the smallness of which our existence really is a part of, that we're tiny in comparison with that vastness. And yet, strangely, you are never more a part of it than when you're swallowed up in it. And so I've always loved that aspect of it. Plus, I mean, with all the dust in the air in the summers, you end up with these incredible sunsets and sunrises, lightning storms, and clouds, and just it's a beautiful place to live. If you want, you really should just Google Saskatchewan landscape and just enjoy all the pictures. But I'm going to read something called Losing the Hawk. And this is kind of a mixture of a couple different recollections. Losing the Hawk. My father says nothing for miles, watching an invisible speck in the sky, a single hawk circling far above our car's silent passage through fields of dust and grain. No prey to be seen, and no prayer but the wind, pushing one way then another through the cracked windows of the old car. The world outside as empty as a beggar's palm. At dusk, we rest at the side of the road in the middle of nowhere and stare up at the sky, now filling with stars and wanderers, ignorant of the names and lines which connect them, caught in the slow sway of the northern lights. Beyond our view, geese call from a cage of willows set at the water's edge, and the old river moves unseen through the tall heads of grain. We lose the hawk in the darkness, hear only wings overhead, their wordless lullaby ascending into night. And that was Losing the Hawk from The Lost Country of Sight, my first book. If you enjoyed this this poem and this reading, please give this video a thumbs up. It helps support the channel in the sense that it keeps it visible and helps others find it. Subscribe to the channel if you'd like. That would be great for me. Gives me a better sense of who's watching and enjoying these videos. If you have suggestions for poets or poems that I should read, or books that I should encounter, please mention them below in the comments or send me a message directly. I'm always open to suggestions and would love to hear from you. And if you are enjoying this series and want to just let me know that, I would love to hear that. Sometimes it feels like I'm speaking to a vacuum out there in an unknown world. And not certain if I'm speaking to the void or not, but I hope that you're finding joy and discovering new poets and new poems in this process. I know for me, at least, I'm enjoying this process. It gives me a chance to kind of delve into my own collection of poetry. I've been starting to purchase more poems, more books lately as well. And I'm also interested in acquiring more books, you know, whether they're review copies or advanced review copies. If there are ways in which I can help you as a poet and an author, please let me know as well. I'm always interested in sort of ways in which I can, you know, highlight and showcase promising work that's out there, things that I'm excited about, and I look forward to hearing from you and discovering some of your work if I'm not familiar with it already. In general, I hope you're doing well, staying safe. We live in tumultuous times and transitions of all sorts. But I'm grateful that one thing that carries us through is the power of language and the ability which we have to form community, even when we're separated. And despite distance and despite differences, poetry provides sort of that common ground, that space in which we can encounter each other's voices and experiences, and perhaps, hopefully, discover and understand each other a little bit better. I think that for me, that's the thing I love about literature, is the way in which it opens many doors and windows, and allows me to expand and grow as a person, as a human being, as I encounter the lives, the sorrows, the griefs, the joys, the delights, and the passions of others. Makes my world a little bit richer each time. So I hope you're finding that as well. And if you've got something you want to do, create something, whether you write or you create art, I'm hoping that you choose that and put time into that. At the, you know, as we go on in our lives, ultimately, what's going to matter most is what we carry with us in terms of knowledge and experience, the connections and relationships we form, and whether that's to people around us or that's connections or relationships with the stories, the lives, and the voices of others that we don't get to meet in this life. I'm grateful that we have that ability in language, in literature, in art. So take care. I'm Neil Aitken. This is the Hermit Poetry Series, and I wish you all the very best going in as we advance further and further into this year. May there be possibilities and hope and transformation and joy ahead of us all. And may we find triumph and success in the things that we're doing. Until next time, stay safe, stay well, and stay active and engaged in what you're doing as a creator and as a celebrator of work and art. And we'll see you again soon. Take care.